how the heck do you work from home with your toddler? Having some type of structure is imperative. Hi friend, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my work from home, stay-at-home mom routine, things I typically do. I did, however, miscalculate when planning this video that I did not take into consideration that it is the first Monday after daylight savings. So my typical may not be so typical if we're still in that adjustment period. But regardless, we're going to attempt to keep things as normally routine today as possible, which is what I love about a routine is that you can make adjustments on either end, but your body naturally tends to want to do the things that you consistently do in a consistent order. At least I do. I'm a very routine and structured craving kind of person. So I do get a lot of questions about how the heck do you work from home with your toddler? Not easy, but it can be done. It can especially be done if you have some routine and structure in your life. So that's what we're gonna get into today. So yeah, I have a lot to get done, and like I said, we may not have as much time in this morning block as I normally have if the toddler wakes up early. So I'm gonna go ahead and get right into work. This first block of time where I wake up really early, as you guys saw, I dedicate this first chunk of time, or what I like to call it, this block of time, to my job. And what I mean by that is, if you don't know anything about what I do, I wear a lot of hats. I have a traditional job that is fully remote, and it's somewhat asynchronous, meaning it doesn't really matter when I get the work done, as long as the work is getting done in the time frame it needs to get done in. Deadlines, right? Schedules. Love those things. As a former entrepreneur / current entrepreneur, I do well with that kind of structure. I dedicate 20 hours of my work week to my traditional job. I also have a freelance business where I offer the same types of services that I do for my job to small businesses. I then also do the social media thing. That's a small chunk of everything. And then I also write books. Although right now the book is a little bit shelved because of the good old mental health, but we'll get back into it, don't worry. But you won't see any book writing in this video. And so right now, jumping into job, and what I do for that job is mostly media work. So I work a little bit in website, a little bit in social media, and a little bit in TV broadcasting. Let's go ahead and jump into that so I can get those things off my to-do list before the toddler wakes up. Let's go. Okay, just as I predicted. This block has been a little bit abbreviated because the toddler is awake. It is not time for him to be awake, but he is awake. So we are going to switch gears into getting my son up for the morning, and then we'll go into the hybrid mode of the day. Let's get him up. good idea because it's a little earlier than normal. My husband's gonna hang with the kid while I focus for a little bit longer because he doesn't have to leave for work quite yet. So that'll be good. I'm gonna get at least this stuff off my to-do list for switching into hybrid mode. Put it. Okay. Oh, it's a Stegosaurus balloon? Wow. Bit. I hear ya. So off script a little bit because the kiddo woke up much earlier than usual, which I don't know how long this adjustment to daylight savings is, because I feel like every time daylight savings has happened since he was an infant, something else has also changed at the same time. So it's just hard to know. Anyway, we don't usually do a lot of television, but we've had to use it strategically lately. So he is watching a show while I finish up some deadline work. And so I'm gonna move over to my walking pad so I'm in the same room as him, and also so I can get my body moving a little bit. So we're probably gonna let him watch like a show, and then we're gonna figure out what we do, like a block of kid time where I am focused on him until lunchtime. Sorry, work in the background. Okay, let's move to the den. I still need to do my hair for the day, but to be fair, it's only 9:30. This time change is gonna take me out. If I'm being honest, it's gonna take me out. I don't know why I foolishly just expected it not to really affect us at all. Godspeed to all the parents out there. This is not for the faint of heart. J-Dubs has decided that he wants to play outside, which is great because he does a very good job of entertaining himself out here, and we have a very large backyard that is fully fenced in. So he and the puppy, who's 2, but to me is still a puppy because he's insanely energetic, are going to wear themselves out while I try to finish up some of this work, and then we will probably go to a playground to carry on the wearing of the outness so we get a good solid nap today, which will be crucial to getting work done. It's such a gorgeous fall day, which, I mean, you can probably tell from all the leaves in the backyard. Yes, we definitely need to rake our backyard. Ooh, I just got a hair in my eye. We've also recently transitioned our water table into a sand table. Even though in North Carolina, it's probably still gonna be like 80 degrees until Christmas Day, I just figured it would be better than having a child come inside soaking wet, because also it just sort of depends on what time of day he wants to go outside. Like right now, he wants to be outside at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's chilly. If he wants to go out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you need to be in shorts and a tank top. Welcome to North Carolina. Where does Sand stay? Okay, do you want some trucks in there? Okay, I'll go get you some trucks, maybe some construction trucks. Okay, we can do that. Okay, let's put some construction trucks in the sand table, and I'm gonna get to work. playground. All right, so it is about that time where I've reached a pretty good stopping point with work, and we are gonna go to a playground for a little while just to kind of break things up and shift into some time where I'm actually able to fully focus on my kiddo and not kind of doing that like hybrid thing, which kind of breaks my heart sometimes when he's asking me to like do specific things. Usually he's pretty good about playing by himself, but for some reason this morning, Mondays are a little bit hard anyway, just because dad's back at work, which doesn't really make a difference right now because it's football season. And so he doesn't really have the weekends, although on Sundays he's home a little longer than he is any of the other days. So maybe that's what it is maybe just because it's a Monday. But when we were outside, he really wanted me to like push him in the swing, and I was working on trying to get something done. The deadline that I have on it is my own deadline. Like I have my work schedule kind of mapped out to keep me from getting to a place where in the times that I'm trying to focus on my kid, I'm feeling pulled or tugged in the direction of work, which helps because then I'm able to like, right now we're gonna go to the playground and I'm going to play with my child. But there are moments where he like really wants me to do something with him. Sometimes I'll allow myself to do it because again, the deadlines are from me usually, but I try to work my schedule, like my project schedule for my work and my other work in a way that when something comes up, because inevitably when you have a kid, especially when you have a kid home with you all day, something is going to come up. They're gonna be in a particular kind of mood that they just really want their mom. And you're a human being and you're not gonna ignore that. You're gonna be with your kid if your kid wants you to be with them. So I try to manage, yes, I try to manage my schedule so that I have the flexibility to do those things when they come up. Or like sometimes occasionally like our friends will be like, we're all going to this certain park that's like an all day thing. And as much as I'm committed to being a good employee, and I am an excellent employee, for those of you that, yes, green light, we're gonna get, for those of you that are going to argue that you can't be both, my performance evaluation would argue otherwise. But as much as I want to be a good employee, and I am a good employee, I want to make sure that I'm giving my child some type of childhood. So I'm gonna go do that now because he's getting antsy. So let's go. We are back from the playground and we actually popped over to the store really quickly because I needed enchilada sauce for dinner tonight. So now we enter into the part of the day that for me is the trickiest because I wake up so early, I tend to hit a bit of a wall. Midday, I'm getting J-Dub's lunch ready. I'm probably just gonna eat a power bar, honestly, because I don't really feel like making anything for myself. And I usually try to eat when he's eating because two reasons. One, like I mentioned just a second ago, I hit a wall at this time of day, which also means I end up having to set an alarm on my Fitbit when I go to put Wade down for his nap because he likes for us to lay down with him, which is totally fine. But the combination of the dark room, the sound machine, my kiddo holding my hand, I will fall asleep. It just happens. I never fall asleep faster in my life than I do trying to put him down for a nap, which is hilarious because if you know me, then you know that for like many years of my life, I struggled so much with sleeping. Become a parent, it changes. You can sleep anywhere for any length of time, whenever you have a second to sleep. But I put my alarm on my phone for that reason, or not on my phone, on my watch, so that I wake up and then I like sneak out of his room. And because of that, I like to run right back into work and use whatever period of time I have while he's sleeping to really kind of like tie up the loose ends of my day. Once he's up from nap, to be frank, 90% of my work is either it has to already be done, or it's probably not going to get done until the next day or once he goes down to bed, depending on when the deadline is. Because once he's up from nap, we really shift gears into focusing on him and maybe an outing for the afternoon, trying to get dinner ready, rushing home, getting food on the table, bath, bed. I'm finally like clearing up the house a little bit, and generally by 7:30 my brain is like, we're done. We're done. We are gonna fix some lunch and get to nap time. Remember, we're gonna have strawberries, okay? Let's make a coffee. I'm telling you, that sound machine takes me down. Takes me down. Oh, and now I need to power through the rest of the day with like a 20-minute nap under my belt. Thank God for those silent alarms. And honestly, I got the Fitbit. My Apple Watch stopped working when I was pregnant, and I didn't want to pay for a new one because I really only used it for like phone calls, text messages, and like tracking my exercise. That was pretty much the extent of it. So I decided to replace it with the Fitbit instead, which I loved because then also it tracked my sleep, which was a blessing and a curse with a newborn because nobody wants to know how little sleep they're getting. Honestly, it wasn't the newborn stage. It was like later in infancy that was painful. But during the newborn phase, we followed, what is her name? This is not at all part of the video, but anyway, taking care of babies. We did her little like newborn class, and she had like a recommended like routine schedule, wake windows, sleep windows, and like recommendations for the evening. And so through his newborn stage, I was waking him up. I had my alarm set on my watch for like the increments that he needed to feed. And honestly, because he was sleeping in our room, in his little bassinet, it was nice to have the silent alarm. So if you are plan to be expecting anytime soon, having something with a silent alarm. Obviously the battery lasts a heck of a lot longer on a Fitbit than it does on the Apple Watch. On the Apple Watch, I was having to charge it every night. I didn't have to do that with this. You didn't need this information. This was totally like unplanned part of this video, but anyway, coffee. One of the other things that I tend to try to like, I don't know, organize into my schedule, because here's the thing about working from home, whether you have a kid home or you don't have a kid home, there are things that kind of pull for your attention that if you were working in an office wouldn't be. It's a blessing and a curse because obviously when I was working in an office, I was at work, and so there was no balancing the life stuff when I was at the office. But when you're working at home, you have the opportunity to balance the life stuff when you're at home, but then that also can like pull your attention away from work. And so right now my kid is asleep. I have work yet that I need to finish that's on my schedule that I had planned to get done today. I've promised my kiddo that when he wakes up, we can go to my mom's house, because that's what he's been asking to do. She lives about 40 minutes away, which is great because that eats up the afternoon. But I do also need to, these political text messages, I tell you what, we're trying to eat dinner a little bit earlier because we were realizing that like we were feeding our kid dinner and then almost immediately, like not almost immediately, dinner, bath, bed. It was like 1, 2, 3 in the other. So I'm trying to feed him dinner a little bit earlier so he has a little bit of playtime in between eating his last meal, maybe have a snack and then have bath and bed. But if we're going to my mom's, when do I cook dinner? Because then we're gonna get home like right at dinner time. So I'm debating whether I need to prep. I'm making tacos, so it's not like it's difficult. I'm debating whether I need to prep the taco meat now and then we just heat it up for dinner. The other option is that I could bring everything with me to my mom's house and just cook it at my mom's. That's crazy, but I might actually do that instead. So I generally have like things better planned out for meals and all of that kind of stuff. Football season kind of trips me up a little bit. The end of football season, it's just about survival. And we are at the end of football season. So a lot of the systems and routines and schedules, etc., that I have in place, I've just entered the stage of just being so exhausted and a little just done. That it's just about survival. And once again, I tell you what, the Nespresso machine. They're not that expensive anymore. Maybe they are, I don't know. I feel like this machine was like, it was less than $200 when we bought it. If you figure I make a latte a day, the amount of money we have saved using this Nespresso machine, it could probably make me sick if I did the math, because we got this machine in, it was Christmas 2017. A latte a day since 2017. Obviously, I'm not actually drinking a latte every single day, but figure I drink a latte 5 out of 7 days a week. Using this machine, worth every penny. Let's go back to my office. Okay, the rest of my workday is going to involve like a lot of content creation for TikTok. So I'm probably going to end this video here because that kind of stuff, while it is work and I make money off of it, it just doesn't seem like, unless it is something you're interested in which case I can do a whole video of how I structure like my social media stuff in with being a parent and working a regular job and managing a house and doing all of those things. But also I find it really difficult to film that stuff with people watching, which is crazy because I know people are going to watch it. Tell me why that's how my brain works, I don't know. But I figured before I end this part of the video, I have notes, let me find them. I did want to address a few things about working from home as a parent, or like a stay-at-home parent, and share kind of some of the things that make this a little bit, I hate using the word easy because this is not easy and I don't want to trick you into thinking it's easy. I'm grateful for it and I appreciate so much the fact that this is something I get to do, and I try to keep that in mind on the days that are less easy. There's a lot about today that did not make it into the cut. Okay, number of tantrums. I had to physically remove my child from an area and fold him like a hamburger to get him into his car seat while he was aggressively fighting me to get into the car seat, screaming and crying. I'm not sure if the people in the parking lot might have thought that I was kidnapping said child. So there's a lot that I don't show, mostly out of the protection for my son, and like I choose to share this part of my life and what I'm doing. But I try to be very cognizant of the fact that he's gonna grow up to be a whole human someday and not his entire life needs to be on the internet. So I don't wanna trick anybody into thinking that this is easy. It is not. You all saw the 4:40 alarm this morning, okay? Like this, there are pros and cons to this kind of life, and I'm grateful, especially if you saw my last video, I'm grateful that this is what my life looks like, because I honest to goodness do not know what we would do otherwise. We would have to give up my income. We'd have to give up an income. We would have to give up an income based on what we're dealing with and what we're facing right now with my son. So it's not easy, but here are some things that make doing this a little bit easier. The first and foremost is having a very understanding boss. The company I work for is phenomenal. It's very, very small. The company I work for is small. We touch a very huge network, but the company I work for is very, very little. And my boss is the most supportive human on the planet, and without almost question, she trusts me inherently and knows that the work I'm gonna do is the work is gonna get done, number one, and the work is going to be done well when it's done. And something that, especially considering the challenges I've been facing in this last year with my child, I had to kind of take a moment to like pat myself on the back a little bit, which we don't do enough, especially as women. We certainly don't do enough. But I had my annual review, which was my first review with this company. I started in October of last year, and it was a very good review. And the things that my boss had to say about me and the work that I do really was very personal and meant a lot. And as I was driving away, I realized, I was like, I still somehow managed to show up well at work despite the challenges I'm facing at home. And I think that's important, but I also think the way that happens is, I'm gonna move you because there's a candle right here. I think another way that happens is to have support from the people you're working for. I also freelance, and so my clients, I make that schedule and I make those deadlines, but I still have to adhere to them. And there are some times when this takes priority, and so things have to shift. So having the type of relationship with your clients that allows open communication, I think that you establish that just by being upfront and honest and letting the quality of your work speak for itself. And my boss and my clients know that I don't unless I have to. And have to is a big have to. My work ethic makes it easier for me to establish those kinds of relationships with the people that I'm working with and working for. So those are two key things: work ethic and supportive system. I think it's also, I mentioned this earlier, but having like an entrepreneurial background. I was a business owner from 2016 to 2018. Life went sideways. I sold the business, but I was running a very successful business, and I started it from the ground up. A friend of mine and I made that business real fast, and you learn a lot about the necessity of like balancing and blending work and life when you're working and living in that kind of environment. And obviously this was pre-kids, but it was really good about teaching me that the work still has to get done, even though you're in charge. Like, the work still has to get done. And so that has helped me in my job in my office, but it has also helped me in establishing routines and systems and structures. Even though I am working from home and I have a lot of autonomy, having some type of structure is imperative. And when you first start working from home or you first start working from yourself, you might be a little bit like resistant to the idea of structure because you're trying to like rebel against what you knew from the office. Take your time, rebel a little bit, and then set the structure, because without the structure, everything fails. And so, or it just feels harder and you end up with a lot more stress than is necessary. So having that background has helped. Structure is imperative. It's just important. On the mom side of things, something that has been absolutely life-changing for me this year is making mom friends. Making specific mom friends. Mom friends with children the same age as your children. Mom friends who live nearby. I have so many mom friends that I love dearly who live very far away from me. And by very far, I mean upwards of 20 plus minutes or 45, an hour away. If you're not in the radius of our day-to-day life, doing the day-to-day is tricky. And the point of mom friends in this season of life is to be able to get together and take our kids to the park. Or when one of us is having like a frazzly kind of day, grab your kids, bring them over, add to the chaos, but now we've added another adult. We've switched things up a little bit. So I have a set group of mom friends that we all live very close to one another, and we very quickly just integrated into each other's lives. I met them in a range of places. The first being I literally... I don't even know how to say this without it sounding creepy, but I like chased a mom down in the Walmart parking lot. I didn't actually chase a mom down in the Walmart parking lot. I offered her goldfish because I heard her kid asking for a snack, and I heard her say, I don't have a snack. And I had a snack in its packaging, not even opened. And I was like, and we just started chatting as we walked in. She saw my kid was in a bathing suit, asked a question, and I answered it, which indicated where I live. And she's like, oh, I live there too. We exchanged phone numbers, which is not something I normally do, but I had made like a commitment to myself that I was gonna make friends. This is not what this video is about, but I'm just telling you that, like, if you're a work from home, stay at home mom, this is isolating and it is very hard, especially if your partner is not also working from home. So you are balancing this by yourself. Get some mom friends. I met them at the library. I met them in the park. Make mom friends. The other thing that has helped is to see my day in blocks. So that very first bit of time when I first wake up, that's my time. I'm not giving that to work. I'm not giving that to my kid. I'm not giving it to anybody but myself. I am having my cup of coffee. I'm scrolling the internets. Maybe I'm reading a book. Maybe I'm catching up on a YouTube video. That is my time. I'm not feeling the pull to check my email. I'm not feeling the pull to check on my kid. He's sound asleep. That is my time for myself. I know that that's that time. I don't worry about anything else in that time. Then when I transition into the next block, I know I'm not scrolling my phone. I'm in focused work mode right now because I only have so much time before my kid's gonna wake up. I gotta power through my to-do list as best as I can. And I know that's the only quote guaranteed focus time I'm gonna have all day unless I have help, because nap not always going to happen. And nap doesn't always happen when I think it's going to happen. It's not something I can rely on. So it changes my perspective on how I'm treating that time. Same thing with my hybrid time during the day where I'm trying to do both when my kid is awake and I'm trying to work. I know kind of what that structure looks like for me. I know what I am and am not expecting myself to try to get done as far as work is concerned during that block of time. My boss knows what I am and am not trying to get done in that block of time. My clients know, etc., etc. Setting these expectations for yourself in these blocks of time, it just helps you to experience your day differently, right? Because you can pretty much feel like the entire day is a fire drill. So if you kind of set these expectations up for yourself and these standards up for that period of time, it helps you to manage your emotions and how you're feeling just in that block of time, right? Like I mentioned earlier, when we go to the playground and I'm focusing on my kid, that's my kid's time. That is my time with my child. I'm not worrying about an email that's coming through. I'm not checking my emails during that time. If my boss calls me and I have to answer the phone, that's a different conversation. But for the most part, she's also home with her kid. We understand that. And the standard is if one of us is calling the other, it's probably because there's something important. So let's answer the phone. Nothing that I do is, no one's gonna die. Nothing that I do is life or death. And so to be able to give myself those blocks of time that I know where my expectation and my focus needs to be has been critical. And that is not something I established until more recently, because I did do the whole fire drill days. I've done the feeling like I'm being pulled in 100 different directions. It's exhausting. And to be quite frank, you don't get much done when you're feeling that way, and you're not getting anything done well, and nothing is getting your full focus. Set blocks up to your day. If you want to know like a little bit more about what that looks like, I could probably write a blog post about it. If that's something you're interested in, let me know below. But blocking my days out has been critical. And then the other thing is having standard workstations around the house. So obviously right now we are in my office. This is my it's very messy, but I'm in my office. I have my very dedicated workspace, and this is where I'm working when I have like focused time. I am not responsible for my child during this time for the most part. There are occasions where I'll come in here when he's awake and I'll leave the door open, he can wander in and out. But I wasn't able to do that until very recently because again, he's been little and we faced some delays. And so even though he's older, so anyway, does not matter. It doesn't matter. This is my dedicated like official workspace. This is where all of my work stuff lives. I have the kitchen table and I have that rolling desk in the den. That desk sometimes will be in the like little front where our kitchen table is. I'll put it in the corner over there and leave my computer set up there throughout the day. If I'm having a full hybrid day where like there's been like for some reason my kid woke up at the crack of dawn and there's not going to be this focused work time, my computer is set up on that rolling desk in the corner of the front room and I am at that desk back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Set standard places up around the house that not just you, but your littles kind of understand that like when you're standing there, if they're asking for something, it might be a moment before you're able to get to it. I'm hearing you and I understand your request and it's coming, but I'm also trying to work right now. I think that might be all I have. I have other like products and stuff that make working from home a little bit easier. Maybe I can do a whole separate video on that if that's something you're interested in. But I do believe this is where I'm gonna end the video. I hope this was interesting for you. I hope it was helpful for you. I know when I started doing both, I've been working from home for ages and had been in a past life, but doing it at home with your kid is a different ballgame. It's just a different ballgame. So I know when I first started doing it, I was looking to other content creators online to be like, what does this look like? How are you doing this? And does everybody else feel as frazzled and crazy as I'm feeling right now? Yes, we are. There are just ways to try to mitigate that as best you can. So if you are a working parent, which I'm assuming you are because you're here, or you're just working from home, cheers. I'm gonna get back to work and I will see you guys again very, very soon. Bye.